smart, roll smarts in the hood. Don't do it. Please don't do it. Now you out here looking like Drake. Hey, Shay, I hear you like him young. Bruh.
You got the rose marks? I'm a pop one.
Yo.
Hit 25K for a cheat.
Little sister from.
Wop, 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 50K for Bud. Wop, 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 wop. I'm a choker up. I'm gonna pop another one. Are you tiger? He said 2 more years younger than you will be a minor.
Yo, pop another one. Welcome to the Between Brothers podcast. We have the champion, the chancellor, the charismatic one. That didn't go well. That charismatic just didn't hit right. But let me start over again. The champion, the chancellor, the chairman of charisma. My big brother Zero in the Mickey Ficky building. And of course, the Duke of Debonair, it's Lando, your host. This is the Between Brothers podcast. Thank you all so much for listening. Another week, another episode. Zero, how is your week?
Man, it was long. They got to get my hours right. Let's see. That's why I hate. That's why I hate clocking in on a phone. Because Monday, I had left to start working. Left my wallet at the house, so I went on. So I clocked out. So I wasn't. So I wouldn't be accused of stealing time. And my clock in didn't register. So it tried to say, so my time card, it said I only had 3 hours of overtime. I was like, yeah, this ain't it. This thing said I only work 0.8 hours. Nah, I work not. It's like, nah, I worked I work 9 hours. So even with the break, I work 9. So I let my manager know I need my 9 hours.
Yeah.
I need my 9 hours. What's it called? If I got to pull up to the job before I start so I can get my 9 hours, it was like, yeah, you better put that in before payroll. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because you ain't going to have me wait 2 weeks to get 9 hours. Nah, F all that. Yeah, watch the draft. Watch the trade. It was like, I got excited. Then after watch a video about the draft trades. No, not draft trades, the draft grades. And I commented that I wish we would have went interior defensive lineman and wide receiver. So somebody had something to say about me saying that. But of course, instead of thinking about depth, they thought about starters. Automatically went all the way extreme. It's like, what do you mean another wide receiver? So you want to draft another guy that's going to take touches away from Brian Thomas Jr.? I didn't say like. So I said, don't you think a player like Travis Hunter may do that? As talented as he is, like It's like what did you want Brian Thomas Jr. to be the only person to get targets or something? Like I don't know what you. And then the defensive lineman thing, it was like from the great American philosopher Jerry Glanville said to a referee, "You know what NFL stands for? It stands for not for long. When you keep making them calls, I'm gonna be bagging groceries." I don't. And dude said, we drafted so many defensive linemen last year. It's like it don't matter. It's like you understand that people get rid of, like, unless you're really that dude, the next regime will get rid of you. Unless you're really that dude. You're someone that looked like they can contribute. If you were somebody who didn't see the field, then what use do they have for you? And depth actually exists in the NFL. In case fans didn't know that. Say we signed one receiver for 1 year. That was the only guy we brought in. We didn't sign a single defensive interior defensive lineman. I don't think we addressed the defensive line at all. So it's like don't try to argue with me and then want to go to the extreme and say if you mentioned Mason Graham. I was like, I didn't say we should have drafted Mason Graham. I said I wish we would have addressed those two positions more in the draft. We drafted 2 running backs. So we have 5 on the roster now. Any of those. It's like we drafted 2 linebackers. We already got 4. We drafted 2 running backs. Now we got 5. So we got, like, what are we doing? So I'm just saying. It was like, and he commented again. And I was like I said to you earlier, it's like if he comment again, it's like, yo, you just gonna be arguing with yourself because I said what I had to say. And that's the way that it goes. But either that, it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah, I stopped arguing with people on social media for that reason. Yeah, once I say what I gotta say, and you can accept it or not, is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like there's no reason for us to go back and forth. It's like you want me to go back and forth with you on the YouTube comments? It's like, nah, I'm good. It's like for months I've been the first person to comment, and then all of a sudden you want to argue with me and say, are they gonna cut Eric Armstead and Mason Smith? Like, who said that? I said they should have addressed it in the draft. It's like there's more than one round in the draft in case you forgot.
These
Day
dudes
one
are
is not the
bullshit.
only day.
Yeah. Um. So I went to watch Sinners. Good movie. Really good movie. The thing I don't like is this the reaction videos. So everybody got a review. Everybody got their notebooks out. Nobody watches movies to watch movies anymore. They got to take notes. And, I'm not mad at these people, but like the thought pieces, these think pieces that people be putting out is getting out of hand, yo. Like there was some messaging in it, but then there was some messaging that I was hearing. I'm like, bruh, I don't even. If it was that deep, like if it really was that deep, you shouldn't have called that. Like for real, you thinking too hard. You thinking it's a vampire movie, dog. It's a vampire movie set in the 30s. It ain't that. It ain't that serious.
So like, do you realize vampires don't exist?
You know, I love the movie. I love the movie. I really
Yeah, I
did.
want to see it.
We went to. There's some people in there, and they were like, when they were leaving, we were going in. I said, "Is it like that?" And one guy was like, "Yeah, this is our second time watching it, dog. You paid to watch that twice. You tripping." Excellent movie. Nah,
But in a month it's gonna be on demand. I'm just saying.
nah, bro. What are you
In a month
doing?
it's gonna be on your favorite streaming
You know what
service.
I'm
Chill
saying?
out.
That was $34, man. Yeah, you
And if
could have got that. It was gonna be on Amazon Prime for $19.99 in 2 weeks. You
yeah.
spend $30 plus snacks. Think, use your brain. Be financially responsible, dog. Nah, but no, it was an excellent movie. I really enjoyed it. Um, there was a lot of messaging in there. Ryan Coogler did put together a great story. Michael B. Jordan. This is probably my favorite movie from Michael B. Jordan. Probably my favorite movie. I'm not a really big fan of a lot of his movies. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I don't even know how many movies of his I've actually seen. But not saying this is his best acting job. I think probably the Killmonger role was probably his best acting job from what I've seen. I ain't gonna act like I caught every single one of his movies, but he did a hell of a job in that movie. The casting was excellent, so it was a great movie. There was that. I mean, for real, that's pretty much the only thing I got to report this week. Um, yeah, as far as like anything that I've done, they said we we watched we watched Sinners. We had to drive like 30 minutes away because the movie theater that's by our house, the Regal Cinemas, that movie theater rickety as hell, dog. Like I ain't trying to go to no rickety ass theater, man. If I'm gonna pay the kind of money movie tickets is paying for, I'm not blowing my quadriceps and hamstrings to sit down. It's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all gotta renovate. You gotta renovate that movie theater, man. There's no reason for this. So yeah, but we had a good time. Um, what else? What else was there? Shannon Sharpe. Let's just get straight to it, man. Like, there's everybody knows the story. Got accused of raping a 20-year-old lady. I think her name is Gabriella Zuniga. Zuniga. I don't know. She accused him of rape, put out a clip of him saying certain things that made him look pretty guilty. And he was like, put the whole 10-minute video out. He's like, I would do it myself, but I don't have the tape. And I'm like, bro, I got a lot to say about Shannon. So I wanna condense this. I don't wanna like vomit everything out. I'm just gonna make these 3 points and then you let me know what you think. So the first thing is everything that you say can and will be used again. Not maybe. Can and will. Can and will. Shut up. That's the first thing I'm going to say. Second thing, Shannon Sharpe is a massive hypocrite. Massive, massive, massive hypocrite. And I'll get to that in a second. That's the second point I'm going to make. And the third point, the great American philosopher Lando has said this many a times. You're never too old to make mistakes, but you are too old to make certain mistakes. 57, 58 years old, these things shouldn't be happening to you, dog.
If y'all the same age,
If they're the same age, everybody looking at her. You see, like, you understand that? Like, if they're the same age, everybody's looking at her like you exploiting this man and this, that, and the other. Now, because there's a 30-year age gap, maybe a little more, because I don't know exactly how old the girl is. I heard she was 19, but then I heard that she was 22. But then they started dating in 2023, and so I don't know. The math ain't math for everything I've been hearing. Because in 2023 she was 19. How is she 23 2 years later? I don't know. But the math ain't math, and I don't know how old she is. All I know she's too damn young. So now it looks like you exploited her youth, and then she exploited you back. And so these are the consequences that you have to suffer for messing around with a girl that's way too young. So now, as the great American philosopher Rick James was said, and we're both to blame, both to blame. Like now we're both to blame. While if she was significantly older, she looks like the gold digger, and she's on her last legs, and if she was like in her 40s, late 30s, you know what I'm saying? So there's that. Zero, talk to me.
look, all I gotta say is you got to do better
Got to do better.
because the fact, like, because I just saw a clip of him talking to what was it, Donnell Rawlings, and he got on him about
What was the
date
second point I made? What was the second point I made?
hypocrite.
Mm.
So, and he was like, why didn't you date the mother? Why did you date the daughter?
Mm.
And he was, yeah, it was like, how do you get on him about that, but then turn around like, and his and you're Shannon Sharpe, like, with your visibility and everything, your name rings bells out here. Possibly get is like you can get any chick you want, but this is the route that you went down. You got this chick over here sitting here talking about baby gravy, and like that's still crazy to me. I was like, I knew exactly what race it was when she said baby gravy, but I'm just saying. But that's neither here nor there. I still haven't seen what this chick looks like. Like, wait, what was it that you said? It's like, dudes on that Rose Sparks. that
Bro,
Rose,
bro.
that Rose Sparks got you. It's like it got you hard and it ain't got you thinking straight. That's it. Those are the side effects. You ain't say. He's like, some side effects will include you not thinking straight and you getting a lawsuit handed to you by Bugsby. Like, you got to
Dog,
do better. Like, you can have any woman you want, and that's what you chose. You
I'm
chose
just
a
saying, you on Rose Parks, dog.
you
Sit
on
down.
a Rose fucking Sparks.
Sit down. Sit down, dog. Uh, uh, sit down. Sit down. You're too visible out here, man. They got you out here with your pants down.
And you
And
know what?
you've been caught with your pants down twice. On live and now in lawsuit. Live in litigation.
Yo, and you know what this feels like to me? I feels like he's compensating for remember when he hopped out the SUV, he was gonna go to that Total Wine place and everybody was making fun of him. He was like, yo, the way that dude is standing, he looked gay and shit. It's like it felt like that he's
I don't,
overcompensating for
I,
that.
I
I'm
don't,
not
I
sure. That's
don't,
just a
I don't think that's the case with him. The dude got grown kids, and he has 3 baby mamas. Like the whole
I
gay
didn't even know he
thing.
had kids.
That's what's like. That's what like people want niggas to be gay so bad. That's why I love Charlamagne. You know how long people been calling him homosexual, and he don't even bother with it. He actually doubles down on it with the gay jokes and the innuendos and things that he do not care. Say what you want. I go home to my wife. I got 4 daughters. I'm out here. He was known for like, sniffing women's seats and doing all these kind of weird things with women. He's also talked about him being a serial cheater before he got married. Bruh. And y'all ain't seen him with no dude. Y'all still calling him gay. And he like, whatever. They gonna say what they're gonna say.
Yeah, the hate is
Damned if
real.
you do, damned if you don't.
But damn.
But damn, Shannon. Shannon. This dude, that Donnell Rollins video was earlier this year. So dude that just supposedly broke up with this chick when he was at, well, what are you gonna do with a 23-year-old? Like, what? You was just with him. You were just with him 12 minutes ago. Y'all just broke up before the interview.
I'm saying, and then you want
And you on Rose Sparks.
you want Rose Sparks, you want audio talk about I might choke you in public.
Bruh, you got caught on audio. You out here like bro look mad, bro looking greener than the Grinch, dog. He looking like he never experienced women before.
Yo, when this
You
dude, I
too
remember
old
like
to be on.
yo when I heard that dude when I heard I think it was a dude that said it. When I heard him say that Shannon and Chad sound like they've never had sex before.
Bruh,
Like like
bruh.
it was like Chad be out here. I think Chad got like 6 or 7 kids.
Getting multiple baby. That's what I'm saying. Like, what are we doing? What are we? I remember earlier this month, in the month of April, earlier this month, I went on a men's retreat. My son is 18 years old. Your nephew, 18 years old. Fresh 18, just turned it the month before. 30 days in. 30 days into 18. We sharing our cabin with this guy. Guy cool as hell. Super cool. But he kept talking about like, yo, I got this, I got that. Women be pulling up, and women this, women that. My son was like, bro, you 38. This dude is 38. He ain't even Shannon's age. He 38. He like, bro, settle. You sound like a kid. Settle down. And Link don't even talk like that. Bro was like, this is abnormal for people your age, yo. You need to get you a wife, man. Like, relax. You almost 40, dog. Like, you too old for that. Like, you old as
My man,
hell doing
my man
this.
parking lot pimping at a club that just got closed down.
Yeah,
That's what
like
he
he
sound like.
like Link, like, man, yeah, he sound like a kid. He sound like he go to school with me. Like, bruh, like that's what I'm saying.
Yo, that
Like
that nigga just watched Super Bad and thought that he could talk like Jonah Hill.
bruh. I'm like, yo, for real. Like, no matter how, like the young people determine what's cool and what's not. Like, let's be real. Let's be real. No matter how corny I think the young kids are, they're who determine what's cool because they're the ones who create the trends. So if you think that's cool, like if you think you cool, you haven't been cool for 10 years before you thought you wasn't cool no more. A decade. You're a full decade into uncoolness. That's what Shannon is. He's not cool. Like, bro, we just got on Anthony Edwards for his stuff. And he's at the age where people make these kind of mistakes. Bruh, you 30 plus years older than son. And you out here talking about this is what like the smack in the face was, because after the whole what's it called incident, the Instagram live incident, the first thing we started seeing, now I don't know if he was already in the Rose Sparks joint, but that Rose Sparks ad went crazy so I don't know if it was something in the making or whatever. I'm like, I don't know if this is just his way of, getting some advertising in, because a lot of people, I don't think I've ever done. No, we've done live streams when we did the picks. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of prompts you got to go through just to get to a live stream. So saying you unknowingly hit a live stream is hard for me to believe. I'm not saying that he did, but it's hard for me to believe.
Yeah.
And I'm not even sure if we ever got into that thing on the pod before, but you got caught with that. And it's like, now you in this, somebody suing you for $50 million. Matter of fact, I'm sorry. I said can and will. Can and will, okay? That I was meaning you should let your attorney handle that. The attorney is a complete imbecile. Bro put out there in a press conference, I'm surprised they sued. Shannon was willing to give them $10 million.
Why?
No, he said offered them tens of millions. First of all, I ain't know Shay Sharpe had that kind of bread. That's first of all. Second of all, why would you tell the public that? You an amateur, dog. Now if they did offer 10 million, of course they going for 50. Why are they going for 50? Because it's whatever he was in is probably a bad look once it gets out. I'm not paying nobody 10. You remember the girl trying to hit Kevin Hart up for that? And Kevin Hart was like, I'm going to tell my wife I'm a hoe ass nigga and take my chances. You are not. This guy here, man. He's handling everything in the worst way.
Why would you even allow Shannon to even open his mouth and say anything? Like, what's it called? Talk about the sex tape situation. Like,
bruh, can and will.
Like, as his attorney, why wouldn't you be like, yo, at this point, it was like, just let it come when it comes. Like, you don't need to open your mouth and say anything. It's like, keep your head down. I'll handle this.
But I'm saying, the lawyer's an idiot. Because if his way of handling it is telling the press that he offered the girl he said at least 10 million. You are on drugs, and you would have been fine. Matter of fact, if I was Shane, I would have been like, he don't represent me. I don't know who he is. I don't know who he is. No such thing ever happened.
Because the fact that you basically went from Shannon possibly being the empathetic figure in this entire situation to now, damn, it was like
10 million is a lot of hush. Look what happened to Diddy when he put out that 8-figure hush money. No, is it 8 figures? Yeah, 8 figures. It was 30 hush money. Yeah, 8-figure hush money is an admission of guilt. That's an admission of guilt. I don't care if you're not guilty. It's an admission. I don't care. Matter of fact, I'm gonna hit the Rose Sparks up. I'm gonna be like, look, matter of fact, the only thing you're getting from me is a 6-month supply of Rose Sparks for your OnlyFans guests. That's it. That's it. I'm not, bruh. Zero. Tell Ocho to tell Shannon to shut
Shut the fuck up.
Bruh, like
Ocho over here gassing everything else. Like, yo, shut up, dog.
Bro said, I heard this. I heard this 4 days ago. I'm gonna put this out. I need the people to tell me what this means.
I want to date my wage, so come on with it.
Well, you talking?
As a matter of fact, I'm taking applicants as we speak.
Well, you talking spicy tonight, boy?
She don't got no money. What does that mean? What do you mean by that? And then Ocho, I'm gonna write that down. Say that again. Oh, the both of you look retarded. Love them. Love their podcast. Subscribe to their podcast. I don't really watch a whole lot of podcasts. I more listen to them, but like the podcast. Listen to the podcast. They're very entertaining. This ain't the way. Like, shut up, Can and Will. Don't be a hypocrite. Don't be a hypocrite in the South Central. Like
while popping your roast sparks in the
hood. Don't spark roll sparks in the hood. Don't do it. Please don't do it. Now you out here looking like Drake. Hey, Shay, I hear you like him young. Bruh.
You got the rose box? I'm a pop one.
Yo.
Hit 25K for a
little sister from. Oh, she legal. Matter of fact, niggas say if a nigga say the chick is legal, he a predator. He a predator.
Yeah, wop, 50K for Bud. Wop, I'm a choker up. I'm gonna pop another one. Are you tiger? He's like 2 more years younger than you will be a minor.
Yo, pop another one. That's crazy. She like, yo, please.
Yo, clip that.
Oh man,
clip that one.
We need to teach Patrick Beverly how to have clippable moments. That dude, Shay, is absolutely stupid. And I'm like, if I'm Sterling, Hollywood, I'm just shaking my head.
It's like you can't introduce me in the Hall of Fame, dog.
No. I'm gonna leave that for Chris. I'm gonna leave that for Chris Carter.
I'm gonna have to ask Brett Favre. He stole from black people. Like, I can't choose anybody.
Bro, like I'm just saying. He said he gonna date his wage, and I'm like, I don't understand what that means because she was an OnlyFans girl, so she's so I don't know if she's making a bunch of money, but she's clearly trying to take money from you. The fact when if somebody ever told me baby gravy, you're too young. You're too young. I don't even know what that means.
What is that? I automatically blocked.
I don't even know what you're talking about. And you saw the letters BABYGRAVY in a sentence back to back. And you were like, woo! Hey, Ocho, she said she wanted that baby gravy.
He sounded like he would say that shit.
Baby gravy, Patrick Swayze. I must be crazy. Rose Sparks and 5. Activating Rose Sparks like the Wonder Twin powers. Fuck out of here, man. Taking 2 pills, tapping them together. Rose Sparks power, activate. Oh man.
He's like, if one lasts for 36 hours, what does 2 do?
I can do this for hours. And hours. And I like shit. It was just a song. It was. Does he make her call him Unc? Well, I wonder what. Yo, I love Shannon, man. But this is when dudes be doing dastardly deeds, man. These are the things that happen, dog. This is nasty work, man. Like, you can't do this. You can't. I just need you to understand how old you are. He's in excellent shape. When you carry a gangsterlicious man bag and you have a straight part, you're too old. You're too old. You need to settle down. You have a straight part, bro. You never put the curve on the joint or nothing. You got a straight part.
You still go to the barber shop that got the picture on the side.
Bro, if you wear a soul patch for your facial hair, you're too old. You're too old. Soul patch? You soul patching? Done. I'm done with you. I'm done with you, dog. I don't even know when that thing was cool, but whenever it was cool, stop it. He has a soul patch. You're too old. You're too old for young ladies. Now, look, I get it. I'm like, okay, let me take this out. I'm not a married man, right? I'm gonna be like, I'm a single man. I'm divorced or widowed. He's never been married, but let's just say this. And I'm like, I got the means. I need to get in some jeans like Genuine. Am I gonna try to hook up with a young lady? No. The reason why I'm saying no is because I don't want to pop pills. I do not want to get little red pills that act like Kevin Gates to my meat. I don't mean no. I'm not want. If anything, I guess technically somebody should be able to grab it and it activates. I don't want supplements to activate my thing. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm sure that's gonna happen to all men. And I'm sure at some point that all men are gonna take these, supplements to get, especially if they're trying to get intimate with a lady. But yeah, nah, bro. Like, I gotta buy Rose Sparks and pay $25 a cheek. $25 a cheek plus Rose Sparks subscription. That's too expensive. It's one or the other. It's too expensive. It is too expensive. And then she said, baby gravy. You want to come buzzing me? Give me that baby gravy.
I'm 1 Rose Sparks away.
Yo, like Shannon, man. He's acting like a young person. And maybe that's one of the side effects of Rose Sparks. It makes him feel like a natural woman. I don't
Rose Sparks makes me feel like a Woman,
Yo, that
Papa Pig, look what it does to me.
that Ocho, right there. Say it again, huh? Say it again, huh? I'm gonna write that down. Say it again.
He popping
Bro,
them
you
shits
don't
in
put that
Skittles.
Kindle away.
Wait, he put. Yo, if that was true, this nigga pulled out
You pull
a
out, you
Kindle
put down
Fire.
that nook. You don't put down that nook, dog. Get out of here, man. Over here
Oh,
taking digital
shit.
notes on that dump. I'm not gonna date my age. I'm gonna date my wage. How about that? Shut up. Shut up. You thought you ate with that too. He thought he ate. Ooh, I'm gonna kill him with this one.
You know how many women your age have your wage?
No,
That's
none.
none. Oh,
That,
Jesus Christ.
oh my God. Shay. Uncle Shay, man. That dude there. And everybody been telling him, like, stop messing with these young. And I'm like, he's been around older women and better looking women that are older. And so again, I don't know what date my wage means. Meaning that you can, I got 50 grand that I can spend on cheeks. I can't imagine. I cannot imagine cheeks being worth 50,000. Is it a year? Is it per each time? If somebody hit me with 25K per cheek, you gotta have that Cherokee Diaz kind of cheeks, not what she got. And even then, that's only worth $32.50. What's a good steak dinner? $159. A good steak dinner. Like, come on, dog. Like, what are we doing? You know what? But I'm being biased. I never had his kind of money. Nothing near it. So I don't know if I was a single person with his kind of money, if I would do some of the things that he's been doing. I can't imagine somebody telling me, hey, I need 50,000 for us to stay the night. And I'm like, yeah, okay. like the first thing I'm gonna do is like Google what a triple X star makes per scene. If it ain't nothing close to that, you ain't getting nothing close to that because you're not even famous. Like, you're not even famous. Like this, you know what I'm saying? Roxy Reynolds only getting $3,000 a scene. I don't even know who you are to be getting that. Like, to be me to pay 50,000. I don't know what triple X stars make, but I'm just saying, like, this is not, kids, that ain't the way. Get you a better attorney than the one who's going to be telling your business. I don't understand why your attorney would tell your business. I don't understand why you would tell your business. And I don't understand how this man has had 2 sexual messes and he has not been fired from Disney yet. Jonathan Majors ran away from a white woman and got fired from Disney. I don't understand.
Jesus Christ.
And I'm not asking for Shannon to get fired. I'm not saying that he should get fired. I'm just saying, what's the bar?
That is true. Like,
I just don't know what the bar, because they was like, oh, he got found guilty. Then when you read what he was found guilty of, he was running away and he shut the door behind him to get away. Her finger got smashed in the door, and so he's guilty of assault. But it's like, but the details matter.
mm-hmm.
He's not a woman beater. It was on tape, him running away while being assaulted.
You know what? He should have been found guilty. How the hell you ain't run away fast enough for you to close that door and Jeeves not catch up to you?
I saw
She
this
must have had that
I
zombie
saw,
speed.
bro, that World War Z speed. Yeah, don't let me get started on that because I'm definitely dead. If I see a zombie, I'm going like this.
Yo, wait, you can't see a zombie go like this. Remember, their arms don't work like that.
Oh,
You see
yeah,
a zombie
run.
go like this.
I forgot. Yes, you're right. They run like the Titans. So yeah, if I see a joint go like this, and he got that lean, he got that lean and that mean, he got that lean and mean look. And his eyebrows are like this. I'm dead. I'm too fat. You know what I'm saying? Like the great American philosopher Biggie once said, I'm too fat. I have to run and catch an asthma attack. I got the asthma attack over this. Like, yeah, I'm dead.
the only way I even think about running is if he ain't got a jaw because he can't bite me.
No, but you know, them joints just graze you in that thing, and they
then,
turn you in.
All of a sudden, you turn to the fucking
I
stick
just need to know,
leader.
why is the virus always spread by biting? Why do people? What humans go around biting each other?
It's like, you get bit as a kid. If a kid bites another kid, that's weird.
Yo, that's what I'm saying. Like,
It'd probably be too. Now, here's the thing: you'll probably do the bite because even though they can run really fast, it looks weird if zombies started spreading the virus by kicking people in the shin.
yo, imagine if you got virus spread from drop kicks. Niggas stink meaner than you.
Yeah, you just got kicked in your chest.
Yo, what Oh man. Oh man. The real thing is like Resident Evil, like everything's a zombie. The freaking dogs catch it, the cats catch it. They freaking form like the Megazord and turn into another whole
I
other
know, turn into
monstrosity.
this whole megas. The trees got it, so you can't even get any shade.
Yeah, like the freaking tree sap turn you into zombies.
It's like, he's like, when did the tree start bleeding?
Yeah, man. That's a good segue. That's a good segue into the NFL draft.
Wait, what? What?
Yo,
A tree. Why is this tree bleeding on me? NFL draft. I mean, like, oh, whoa, whoa.
Oh man. Shadeur Sanders, man. Shadeur Sanders. That's the story of the draft. Nobody gave a flying flip about Cam Ward. That's why you did, like, of course he wasn't the most famous person in the draft. It was Shadeur Sanders. And then it's so funny. The ironic thing is, what's his name? Dion a few years back said he would never let Shadeur get drafted by Cleveland. And then that's exactly who he ended up getting drafted by. And at this point, you just got to be grateful and put in the work.
Yeah.
The Cleveland Browns are one of the worst organizations to ever be in sports. So I feel bad for him. And people are going to say, oh, when he sucks, people are going to blame it on the Browns. Yes, as they should, because the Browns have never made good decisions or built. Well, actually, they did build a good team. They did build a good team. Baker Mayfield was just trash, and then Deshaun Watson was horny. So yeah. So matter of fact, thinking about Deshaun Watson, why nobody talk about him with the baby oil, with all the massages he was getting? What did he party was he at?
He won't have a sex party. This is a one-on-one therapy session. Yeah, he walked into the room.
They call you a therapist for a reason, girl.
I say he's like, I got you alone. So I got that Gatorade towel that came with them Gatorade Jordans.
And the Rose Sparks, he just popped the Rose Spark.
No, he ain't have Rose Sparks. Nah, he young, so he had a Blue Chew.
Oh yeah.
He's like,
young dudes with Blue Chew is crazy, man. Anyways, let me not get back into
that. We're moving backwards.
We're supposed to be talking about the draft
because of the tree bleeding.
Yeah, because that I don't even know how we got to that. This is normally we'll get to that if it's a pop the trunk production. This is actually supposed to be structured today, and we started talking about zombies, Titans. We made a Kendrick Lamar song about it. So we doing all kinds of things today.
All right,
so Shadeur gets drafted. Nobody cared about Cam Ward. So I'm watching Jackson Dart. Normally I do like a lot more like draft eval or something like that. I wasn't really, I don't know why. I mean, I don't just usually have to have interest in the draft players who are getting drafted to look at them, but I try to like leading up to the draft, like see who I think is good, who I think isn't good. A lot of the scouts said that Shadeur was the best pure passer in the draft. So I don't know how the best pure passer in the draft goes in the 5th round. They said like he held the ball a lot. But a lot of people said it was he fell mostly because of the interviews. And then the Jets' former interim head coach, current Atlanta Falcons defensive coordinator, his son calls Shadeur to mess with Shadeur, which I don't even understand why, because it's not like Ole Miss is a rival of Colorado's or anything like that. So, like, I can understand if that was the case, but, like, that's not the case. You did it to troll him. You're not even a good athlete. You're probably you're a coach's son that can't play, which is embarrassing. So, you weren't gifted with anything except
his last name. That's not even a gift.
A lot of yeah, exactly. Your dad is a failed coach who coached the Jets to one of his worst seasons expectation wise ever. So, anyways, and now he got fired immediately, and now you're in Atlanta. Like your dad took a job that he knew he wasn't gonna keep. So, like he took a job and was like, yeah, we got to break this lease soon. Like that's come on, bro. Like if you're gonna sit here and make fun of somebody who's actually accomplished something, bruh, like for real. So, anyways, and of course, that's being hypocritical of me because I just made fun of one of the most famous podcasts in the world right now, Shannon Sharpe, and we're not on that level. But of course, I'm not making fun of him as a podcaster. I'm like, you just too old to be doing the stupid crap. But you do that, to try to pick at somebody who's clearly going through a rough time, or should be going through a rough time. I don't know what it was like for him at home because he didn't have like TVs and they didn't show him throughout the draft process or whatever. But yeah, I think if the Browns can continue to build that offensive line, continue to have a really good defense, I'm not sure. I don't think they brought Nick Chubb back, so they can continue to have a great running game. He should be able to develop into a nice player. I just don't understand how the Saints and the Steelers I literally watched Jackson Dart on the highlights from when he got drafted. The draft highlights. I didn't do no pre-draft. I saw the draft highlights. I was like, oh shoot, they drafted another Daniel Jones. I text my boy Kyle, they drafted another Daniel Jones. He's like, you think he Daniel Jones? I was like, yes. He sends me a video of Colin Cowherd comparing him to Daniel Jones. He was like, the quarterbacks that you see that just come out of nowhere, the quarterbacks whose draft stock rises when they never were spoken about in college, they're usually not good. He said the only exception is Josh Allen, and people were showing me tape on Josh Allen his junior year, saying this dude, if he gets the right coaching, he's going to be a star. And then they showed a highlight of one other guy who got drafted, whoever the Saints drafted, I forget his name, at pick 40. Mm-hmm. Dude missing open wide receivers on crossing routes on the regular. There was like 3 times where the ball just slipped out of his hands. They said he was the worst passer at the combine. They drafted him at 40.
Yeah, they had a highlight of him missing he missed a slant terribly,
bruh. And again, I personally, if I were to pick first overall, would pick Shadeur. But I could understand if because the arrogance thing, and people point at the race side of it, and I was like, okay, the race side is obvious to point at, but let's take the race out, because people will go to Archie Manning, which doesn't make sense. That Archie Manning got so much leeway. The reason why I'm saying that is because we discovered live on this podcast that Archie Manning really wasn't that good. We thought he was because they said he was the greatest Saints quarterback before Drew Brees, and we assumed that he had a great career. And then we pulled up the numbers and his winning, and it was like, oh shoot, this dude. And they tried to make it seem like it was because of how bad the Saints were that he wasn't winning. And that might be true, but we don't know that. That wasn't in our time. So people point at the Archie Manning and Eli Manning thing. Nobody really talks about John Elway, because John Elway had a similar situation when he got drafted to the Broncos. I was like, why do I feel like this is more recent? And it was. And it was last season. And it was Marvin Harrison Jr. Bro said, I don't need to do no combines. I don't need to do no pro days. I ain't doing the band. Yeah, watch the tape if you need to do anything when it comes to me.
Yep.
And he got picked 4th overall. So maybe it's a quarterback thing. Maybe it's like, okay, you don't want your quarterback to have that kind of cockiness and arrogance. So I'm going to name another person. Remember Cam Newton? Cam Newton, his dad was talking that stuff. They put out rumors saying how bad of a leader he was, which no person who's ever played with Cam Newton has corroborated that scout story about him being a bad leader, a bad person, this, that, and the other. Nobody's corroborated that.
And it's always somebody anonymous.
Even Kelvin Benjamin hasn't got on a podcast and said nothing about it. And they had beef when he left. Don't know why, because it's not like it's his fault, Cam's fault, that the team decided to trade him, but it is what it is. They even said Cam Newton, his father with him getting paid and things of that nature, or potentially getting paid, or under the table money, hush money, whatever, that he was asking for money. Where was Cam Newton big? First overall. Okay. So here's the issue. Here's the issue. If we take race out of it, it's not, what's his name? Caleb Williams. Also last season. Now he didn't do like, but his father was talking that big talk, out trying to out here being like a football LeVar Ball. Was talking about getting ownership stake for his rookie deal. That did not change his draft grade. Here's my theory. If I'm not going to use race, because race is fairly obvious sometimes, or it's obvious to point to. But there's other examples of black athletes who've had similar situations. Shadeur Sanders isn't gifted enough for us to remember, for us to ignore. He wasn't far and away the best wide receiver in the draft. Like now, even though how their rookie years went, looked like Malik Neighbors was the best. Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. were the better wide receivers, but as a prospect, Marvin Harrison Jr. was the clear number one, and Cam Newton was clearly the best player in the draft, and Eli Manning, I don't know what that was about, because I don't think that I didn't watch Eli in college, so I don't know how good he was. But John Elway was clearly the best prospect coming out of college football. So, and then Aaron Rodgers, there was that sentiment as well. But everybody felt like, okay, whoever is going to be between Aaron Rodgers and Alex Smith, who's going to get picked number one? Whoever gets picked number one, they're probably going to fall really late into the first round. I think it was like one or two other teams, they didn't pick a quarterback. And that's exactly what happened. Nobody expected this to happen to Shadeur, because he wasn't, even if there was like, you were like nitpicking Cam Ward, because he was, he's a bigger, stronger, faster player. He's a more athletically gifted player. Okay, we're going to pick that guy. If everything's the same, even though he's the better passer, we can grow Cam Ward as a passer exponentially better than we can make Shadeur Sanders a better athlete. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Cam Ward was a 5, we can bring him up to an 8, and we can't teach his athleticism. You're a 9 as a passer, and let's say he's not a 5, but let's say he's a 6 as an athlete. The best we can do with all the training we can do, especially since you clearly didn't get your father's gifts, is bring it to a 7. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, we can't. And then also he's not very tall either. He's like 6'1". So it's like, okay, you got a lot of stuff going against you. But Jackson Dart ain't the way.
Yeah, the dude who snap count is, and his what's it called? The audible, yeah, his dummy one is called Purple.
If I was John Gruden, I would be like, if you get that, if you happy and you know it, ass snap count. I knocked my mic over. Oh, man.
If you're playing a simple offense, clap your hands. Because that's exactly
Bro
what that
had a
shit
nursery rhyme offense. Nursery rhyme snap count. And that was the guy you're like, you know what?
Yeah.
Brian Daboll. 6. Week 6, he's done. By week 6, he's done. And Russell Wilson's my guy. He done. Week 6, they're going 1-5, and he's done.
Yeah, Giants country. That's right.
So I don't. All right. So Shadeur, what happened?
You asking me?
Yeah.
You asking me? You already know what happened. What's it called? My theory is, well, it ain't really my theory. What it seems like what's going on is that Dion, that it's like they wanted to set it's like they just, it seemed like they're trying to say is like collusion. They're trying to teach Shadeur and the Sanders family a lesson that they don't run shit. Because, like you said, when it came to the Mannings, it was like we still don't have the reason as to why he didn't want to play in San Diego. So it was like, they just pushed it to where how they wanted it to go. And then it was like that was that. It's like I didn't even hear too many people even say much about Eli not wanting to play in San Diego when the shit happened. It was just anticipation. Will he go up on stage and accept the jersey? Or will he accept that he got drafted by them? Would he go up there and will he go up? Will he go to the on stage? That's what I can remember from that draft. Is he going to come up on stage if they select him? Like it but the drop made absolutely no sense because I'm also hearing about Shador. Shador got called out by Dayball for not being prepared for the interview.
You passed on the chance to get Jaden Daniels. Why would he prepare for your interview?
It's like, you it's like folks are saying that he was too arrogant. Like folks hated the fact that he was calling himself legendary. It's like there's so many things floating around. And then when you got the kid, like I think somebody somebody said that he should be suspended or the kid should be suspended. I was like, well, he's not on the team. Like he went and apologized on social media. And apparently they did it twice in this draft. They did it to Shador, and apparently they also did it to the tight end Tyler Warren. It was like prank phone called him, and I think folks were in an uproar about the prank call because because when they found out who it was, they made it seem like they just assumed that the dad gave the phone number to them instead of thinking that they must have because it was like how do you call his private number when all the coaches have their private. I- I'm just trying to figure out why a defensive coordinator has a quarterback's number, but whatever.
Well, if they're looking at the draft stuff, I can understand.
But
Like, because it sounded like from what he said, it was like uh list of prospects that they were looking at, and they just had their number. So it could have been something that all the coaches had access to.
but what's it called? When Pittsburgh didn't pick him, I thought it was weird. So it seems to me like they might be getting closer to signing Aaron Rodgers. which why? And
Oh
then
yeah, that makes sense. That makes
um
sense. Makes sense why Pittsburgh didn't pick him up.
and
But
then
I
with the,
thought he said he was willing to do like I don't believe him, but he said that he was willing to help. I don't believe anything that bitch says. That he'd be willing to help any younger player that's coming up.
yeah, he ain't do that with Zach Wilson. But what's it called? You but you got but then when the Saints picked when the Saints picked that rookie, folks watching the draft get on my nerves because they brought up what's his name? They brought up Quinn Ewers and Will Howard. And they were like, everybody's talking about Shadeur Sanders and how come he hasn't gotten drafted, but Will Howard just won a national championship and Quinn Ewers is a winner and this, that, and the third. It's like, look, let's get this shit straight. There's a reason why Shador was mentioned as being a first round quarterback, possibly a top 10 pick because of his skill set. Like, you got to remember Howard played on a team that was completely loaded offensively and defensively. It's like, and Quinn Ewers, if it wasn't for the head coach that he had, he wouldn't have been the starter.
Yeah.
Because Steve Sarkisian is one of those guys that seniority trumps everything else. So it's like, so Quinn Ewers, he's like he was not the caliber of quarterback that Shador is, even though folks will turn around and be like, well, Shador had this record at Colorado. Let's understand something here. When it's like Shador had to play with, now they're gonna look at Travis Hunter. It was like, oh, but he played with
I
Travis
mean, that
Hunter.
was it. That was it, though.
Yeah, it was like he didn't have an offensive line. He didn't have a running game. It was like folks say, oh, he held on to the ball for too long. Well, you can't just throw to Travis Hunter all the goddamn time. That's for sure. And if you don't have anybody blocking for you, or if you don't have a running game to alleviate any of the pressure, what do you expect? And he still led the nation in completion percentage. It was like
Yeah, he
like
led the nation completion percentage with a clean pocket and under pressure.
so so it's like, and I don't even want to make it a black or white thing, because if that was the case, what's his name? If that was the case, Jackson Dart would have been the number one overall pick, and not and not what's his name?
Well, yeah, I heard people say that, and I was like, just because the the organization that picked the player may not have like a bias against black quarterbacks doesn't necessarily mean the teams that needed quarterbacks don't have that bias.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's just like I said, if Shador was like clear cut number one, and like no matter what, like I said, if Shador had the athleticism of a Cam Newton or a Caleb Williams, we're not
And
having.
still had the same numbers.
Yeah, we're not having this conversation. Like it's not. Cam Ward's not even. If Shador, if their athleticism were switched, Cam Ward is probably a third, fourth round pick, and Shador is a clear cut, far and away number one, and they pick it. And so, no matter how arrogant and cocky he may have come off in the interviews, and that's what I'm saying. I think just like in agreeing with you with what you said, the idea that Shador or that like they want to show Dion. Like this is a Sanders issue. I don't think this is a black-white issue. I think this is a Sanders issue. But like I said, Dion has every right to be cocky. He coached an HBCU to a national championship or a bowl game level. He coached Division One Power Five team to a bowl game level. He was. This is the same guy that went out and said somebody called him. I forget what team called him. And was like, "Yeah, we thinking about picking." And he's like, "Where y'all pick?" And they're like, "Oh, whatever pick they were." And he was like, "Yeah, y'all, I'm gonna be gone by then." And then didn't even like continue the interview. Like, you're wasting my time. You know what I'm saying? This is a guy who literally won a Super Bowl, left that team to go to the team that they beat to get to the Super Bowl and help them win a Super Bowl. Like this is a guy who played football and baseball at the same time. Like this is how gifted that person was. It's unbelievable that guy feels confident about himself.
Yeah, it's like, don't. It's almost like, he was like, nah, we need to muzzle this. Yeah, he don't need. He was like, we don't need that type of we don't need that type of player here. It was like, well, what type of player do you want? Because I know there was somebody that was on there was somebody that I saw on Instagram. He was talking about he when they would work out, when the team would work out, he would get like scream and get hyped up, and the coaches would pull him to the side and be like, "Yo, why do you need to be doing all that? Why do you feel like you?" It's like, that's not. It's like you're actually causing a distraction to the team. You're not hyping. It's like you're not really hyping everybody else up. You're trying to make yourself the center of attention. But then the quarterback did it, and of course, it's race. So he said the quarterback did it. He was white, and everybody said that he was a great leader. It's like the double standard is always going to be there. Like, listen, this is a Sanders issue because what's it called? Because it wasn't an issue. It wasn't an issue when Elway did it, but Elway was that guy. It wasn't an issue when Eli did it. Folks are just wondering if, like I said, the most controversial thing of that entire draft is if Eli was going to accept the jersey. They would not answer why he didn't want to go there. All they knew was that, oh, we're not going to talk about it at this time. And the time still hasn't come to explain as to why. And then, like you said, the Marvin Harrison Jr. wasn't like, it wasn't even injury related. He just thought, hey, he got it all. He don't need a workout. So he's like, you want to know you want to know how
Bro
good
didn't
he
even do a
is?
pro day. That's crazy.
He is like, he was
And
at the
nobody
pro
was like,
day.
you don't need to work. You don't need to work out for us. Let's teach
Not
him a
even
lesson.
private workouts. It's like, watch the tape.
We need to teach him a lesson.
Yeah, it's like, watch the tape. I don't need to just watch the tape. I need to see where he's at right now.
I think that the Sanders family might have, maybe they probably didn't think that they would fall like to the fifth round, but I think they might have like thought that. But maybe part of it, like I'm probably giving him too much credit because if they thought that, then he probably wouldn't have gone to the green room. Like he probably wouldn't have gone to the draft if they felt like, you know what I'm saying? So maybe they was like, okay, if he's not picked first, then there's gonna be, then he's gonna fall. But then like when it's like, okay, he fell out the first round, all right, whatever. to then all of a sudden that Friday evening is like his name still wasn't called. It's like, okay, and then halfway through Saturday evening, excuse me, his name is like, come on, bro. Like at some point, like there was so many quarterbacks that were picked there were so many quarterbacks that were picked over him that were significantly worse than him. Like if you watch the tape, they were significantly worse than him. That's inexcusable. Like you remember I had mentioned a couple weeks ago, I don't understand why owners don't want to win. I'm not saying that Shadeur's a winner or not. I'm just saying I don't understand why owners will do things directly to sabotage their team because they don't want to win. Because the money that they make as a playoff team is like when you're in the playoffs, because you're not paying the players these massive deals, it's all money it's really mostly ownership money. The playoffs is where if you had losses financially is where you would recoup those losses because you're tripling the cost of tickets. The salaries of the players are significantly lower. They're probably a tenth and maybe even more cases lower in those times. And of course, the further you get into the playoffs, the more profitable it is. So it's just like, why would you do something like? And when it comes to the interviews, I'm not even sure. From what I was told by Big Bro, you don't really talk to the owners in those situations. So it's these GMs that have the ego, and some of them, some of them the coaches are in there. Some of them is just the GM and the front office guys, from what I was told. So it's just like, but a lot of times the coaches are involved, and it's like, so you sabotage the coach. You're the first person to get fired when ish don't go right. GM, you're the second person to get fired in many cases if ish don't go right. So why are you directly sabotaging the franchise? Because your feelings is hurt because this guy is confident? Okay, show me that confidence. Because the confidence, the cockiness was not an issue when Baker, mediocre Mayfield was in there, and Johnny Football was in there. Y'all did not have any issues with their stuff. And they had legal trouble while in college. Shadeur clean.
Because Dion ain't gonna play that shit.
Shadeur
he kicked his own son out of a meeting because he thought he could show up late. he kicked Shiloh out of a meeting because he thought he could show up late. It was like, nah. It's like he's like, he gonna have to be the example. It's like, yo, like that. It don't make no sort of sense. And even if you want to talk about like Shadeur with this celebrating with the watch, it was like, oh, he's arrogant. He's doing too much when he celebrated with the watch on his wrist. Baker Mayfield grabbing his crotch toward the crowd is just his competitive nature, huh?
Yeah, so that's where like
which one is more egregious?
You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying. It's like the race thing. I'm not saying that the race thing isn't valid for those people who are like, oh, why take race out of it? I'm not saying that it's not valid because there's too many examples of when Caucasian players do things that look differently. They're looked at differently versus Black players. But to try to keep it as fair as possible, I'm like, okay, are there other examples of this in the Black community and when it's Black players? And like I said, the issue, because all right, when it came to like, all right, this guy isn't wildly talented enough to do this or to be this. Like Baker Mayfield was the guy who wasn't gifted enough to be as arrogant as he is or as he was. The NFL has definitely humbled Baker Mayfield, especially when he was on 3 teams in 12 minutes. Like the NFL definitely humbled him. Now he's playing good football. He's still a loser, but he's playing better football than he had his first 6, 7 years, or however long he's been in the league before this past season. So, but he wasn't punished for his cockiness, and he wasn't wild. He was drafted the same draft as Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, who are a 2-time MVP, or who both won MVPs. Who have both won MVPs. I forgot Josh Allen won it this year. Who have both won MVPs. And it's a shame. It's a shame that those guys had to deal with, and Lamar, who wasn't cocky and arrogant, he had to drop significantly in the draft, and he should have been picked over mediocre Mayfield. There was nothing special about Baker Mayfield. And so that's where, and Johnny Manziel, as in college, Johnny Manziel was so electrifying. I can understand, and he to be honest, he shouldn't have. A lot of people felt like he shouldn't have even been drafted. Like, he got overdrafted. He was a guy who was reached for by him being the first round pick. So, but this is the same. This could very well be a Tom Brady situation. And what do I mean by that? I've said many times, this is why Baker Mayfield never lived up to the number 1 overall pick hype, and why many players who get that don't live up to the number 1 overall hype. Like Jamarcus Russell, I think the year going into his last year at LSU, they were assuming he was going to be picked like second, third round. All of a sudden, he was the number 1 pick. He didn't live up to it because he wasn't, even though he had the arm, he just wasn't that good. Baker Mayfield, same thing. Going into that season, he was third round grade. Then all of a sudden, he had a good season. People were saying maybe second round. And then the Browns just took him first overall because they liked how cocky he was. They said it. Ownership actually said that. And then Tom Brady, on the other hand, was a guy who was a late first, early second round grade and dropped to the 6th round because of poor combine performance. And then it's like, oh, but the tape says he's a winner. The tape says he can bowl. Let's ignore that just because he had a bad combine, and he ends up being the greatest quarterback of all time. I'm not saying Shadeur is going to be that. What I'm saying is the tape says he's the best player in the combine or in the draft at the quarterback position. That's what the tape said. And he drops to the 5th round. Now, unfortunately, he's with a bad organization. But that organization has gotten better over the years. As a matter of fact, since them owning their mistake with Deshaun Watson shows that they've matured as a franchise. The problem is he's probably not going to do it for the Browns. If he would have gotten on the Steelers, I would believe it. But because he's on the Browns, I don't know. And maybe he's somebody who can turn the franchise around. But if he can do that and win, if he can win playoff games, even if he never wins the Super Bowl, it's a middle finger to the faces of all the teams that passed on. If he can consistently win playoff games in the AFC, the clear better conference. Though Philly just won the championship, the clear better conference, top to bottom. So yeah, I mean, shout out to Shadeur, man. Glad you got drafted. I'm a Die Easy Brown fan. I was a Die Easy Brown fan while they had Nick Chubb. I'll be a Die Easy Browns fan because Myles Garrett is my favorite defensive lineman since Aaron Donald retired. Speaking of which, and we'll go to our partner shots. When is it okay to switch your favorite player in whatever endeavor it is? Is it when they start to suck or when they retire? Like for me, my favorite player was Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook doesn't suck, but he's been eclipsed now by SGA and Giannis. So, but it's because he's no longer in his prime. So it's like, all right, like I still love you. I want you to win a championship, just not with Denver because I don't like Jokic. But I want you to win a championship. But yeah, you're not my favorite player anymore. You're not my number one. So, or is it like, man, how you go? You ain't loyal. Like he's still playing. Like that should be. How do you assess that for you for when you be like, this guy's my favorite player?
For me, it's usually is it seems to happen during. I can't really say that because what's it called? I love Fred Taylor, but then when Chad Johnson when Chad Johnson started going off, he became my favorite player. Jordan was my favorite player, and then Iverson. Then watching Iverson play made Iverson my favorite player.
Was Iverson your favorite player because their careers overlapped a little bit? So was Iverson your favorite player when he came in as a rookie,
No,
or
you
was
know
it
what?
after
No,
Jordan
it was
retired?
after. It was after Jordan retired. So it always varies because Fred Taylor didn't retire when Ocho came in, but Ocho Cinco became my favorite player in front of Fred Taylor.
Let me write that down.
And then it was like after Iverson. No, I think Iverson retired before Dame came in.
What year was Dame drafted?
I think he was drafted in
Nah,
2012.
yeah, I'm gonna say, yeah, he was definitely retired by that. I think
Yeah,
Iverson retired. Iverson surprisingly didn't play that long. I think he
yeah,
might have made it 10 seasons, 10 or 11
yeah.
seasons.
Because it was like after Iverson retired, I liked Kobe, and then
I don't
um
remember you being a Kobe.
no, I did. It's just that at the time I wasn't really like um I didn't really talk about it much, like how I would overhype Iverson, Jordan, and now um Dame. Yeah, I wasn't not overhyping. I wasn't very vocal about it, but it was only for a brief period. Then I mean, for baseball, it was Ken Griffey Jr. Then for a long time, I wasn't. For a long time, I wasn't a fan of anybody. So
Yeah, I guess
it,
once it's not really. I don't know. We need to put. I need to start making polls and putting
yeah,
that up in our group chats and stuff, or our groups and everything like that. Because
yeah.
yeah,
Because for me,
I guess it's just whenever you just see yourself watching that player more than the guy who was
yeah,
your favorite player previously.
yeah. Because it was yeah, because that was just how
Yeah, because
it
I haven't
was
had a
for me.
favorite hockey player since Martin Rodor.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had a favorite hockey player.
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, Martin Rodor was my guy, and I have not. But I haven't watched hockey much since
Yeah.
he's retired too. So that's probably part of it.
Yeah, so it was like for me, like I think when it came to it was yeah, when it came to either like for Jordan, I think Jordan was the only one that retired before I became the fan of another player. No, it's basketball for real. Well, except for between Kobe and
Yeah,
Dame.
I say Kobe was definitely playing
Yeah,
for
with
the
Kobe and Dame,
But
that was
when
the
did
only time there was any.
but just because now that's when he was drafted, that doesn't mean that's when he became your favorite player though.
Now he became a favorite
Because
player
like
when he hit that shot against the Rockets to end the series.
so what year was that?
I think that was 14.
So that's pretty much when Kobe retired. Yeah, because Kobe retired that year, and that was in the playoffs. They didn't make it to the playoffs.
Yeah, they didn't make it. So it seems so basketball. Every time I had a favorite player, when one retired, I became a fan of the next. Even though, well, Kobe's and Iverson's overlapped, but at the time I didn't like Kobe because I didn't like the Lakers. It was like, especially when they beat the Kings. I remember we were at the McThrift and we were invested in that series.
Yeah, the Kings were. I wish the Kings could have won a title, but okay, yeah, all
Yeah,
right.
because I've never had a favorite. Now, I've hated a lot of hockey players, but I've never had a favorite hockey player. Like I could not stand Mike Richter.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was like, yeah, I just hated Jaromir Jagr's name.
yeah. I didn't know it was. I didn't realize he had two different names until like years into his career. I thought like his just because they never just like Gretzky. They would just say Gretzky or Patrick Waugh. They would just say Waugh. They always said his full name. So I'm like so
Like Sergei
I'm
Fedorov,
thinking
it
his
was
name is
just his last
yeah
name.
yeah. It's just like okay, like it's Yamir Yager, and then of course I didn't know that was a different language back then. But I'm like, oh, his last name is Jagger, so his name is Yamir Yager Jagger. And then when I found, I'm like, oh, like that's it. Why did they say his full name every time?
Yeah, so yeah, it was, but that was always,
I
yeah,
couldn't
'cause
name you another Devils player back then other than Martin Brodeur. That's how much I love that guy. I couldn't
damn.
name another player from back then. I definitely can't name no players now, but I couldn't. Matter of fact, yeah, I would say matter of fact, Martin Brodeur is the only New Jersey Devil I can name. Period. Because I definitely don't know anybody from now, and I definitely don't know anybody remember anybody from back then. I literally just watched it for the goalie. That's crazy. And I knew players on other teams. Like I said, Patrick Waugh, mostly goalies. Um, John
John
Van
Van
Beesbrook,
Viesbrook,
but of course Gretzky, Yager, Richter,
Mario
uh,
Lemieux,
yeah, Lemieux, Ovechkin, Crosby, the Sedin brothers. Who was the other guy
Sergey,
that was?
Sergey
Sergei Fedorov
Fedorov.
was on the Devils, right? I'm not the Devils,
No,
the Wings, the
yeah.
Red Wings. Yeah. Anyways, all right, let's wrap this up. Zero. Your parting shot, my brother.
My parting shot is what I began with earlier. If you're if you're on on the internet and anybody that you put out your opinion about whatever it is, what the topic is, that somebody calls themselves wanting to argue with you, if you respond and they keep on trying to want to respond to you, just give your one response and leave. There's no reason for you to have to go into a whole fucking thread to arguing with somebody who's gonna stand their ground no matter how wrong they are. This happens with this happens in Jordan LeBron debates. Like, it happens in Kobe LeBron debates. That a lot of sporting, like it happens in Mayweather Pacquiao debates, even though Mayweather already beat the shit out of Pacquiao anyway. Like the fight, it happens so many times. Hell, it happens in music debates. It's like it really gets annoying. So have the self discipline to say, you know what, You got it. I'm not gonna argue with you.
My parting shot is stop making other people's problems your problems. Like it's not your responsibility to help everybody with their crap. If your best friend is 40 years old, still having financial issues because he keeps blowing his tax refund check, that ain't your problem. Let it go. I'm giving you permission today. Stop making other people's problems your problem. Mind your business. I'm not saying like you in other people's business, because a lot of times those people bring in their business to you. That don't mean you don't need to mind your business. Hey, I wish I can help, but I can't. Man, I know you got it. You know what? You're absolutely right. But you got that $12,000 tax refund check. It's been 13 days. How are you asking me for money?
And you ain't gonna pay me back anyway.
Because you didn't pay me back when you said you was going to get you this past tax refund check that you just got. Or you're giving people advice. It don't necessarily have to be financial. You're giving people advice. And relationships need to be mutual. Human beings exist to give the trees life, and the trees exist to give humans life. I had a friend. I'm going to end on this. I had a friend. If you can help, help. But if you can't, or if it's causing you stress, don't help. I had a friend, and I mentioned to him that he didn't support a lot of things that I did. And the first thing he said to me was, is it because I don't give you money? I never asked this person for money. He never gave me money for anything ever in life. He's actually never even made the money that I've made. So I don't know why I would ask him for money. And I said, bro, you never even liked the post. You so full of yourself. And I was like, yo, you know what? Because of what he said, I was like, we good. We done. Me and you, done. This friendship is too one-sided. We're good. Well, it's cool. I'm cool. I'm cool, you cool, we cool. 2 days later, liked every single post that I ever post. Not like that I ever posted on our podcast page as well as on my personal page. He made sure because you need. That doesn't make this thing mutual. I gave you too long now. You're not, and then he hit me the day before my wedding about his problem. That was the last time I heard from him. Your problems ain't my problems. And since then, I've been liberated and free. And a lot of good things have been going my way. So stop making other people's problems your problems. This is Between Brothers Podcast. We love y'all. We'll see you next week.